The City Council working now in committee meetings on proposed new laws to reduce the number of smokers in the city. That's important as the Cleveland Department of Public Health considers smoking a leading cause of death in the city.
In our Solutions Journalism series, we've reported specifically on the roadblocks that have been in the way of reducing the number of smokers. But now these new laws have passed just may create real change. It's impossible to avoid. The vape shops are everywhere. So are the ads. The marketing push to keep us puffing remains in our face. But smoking and vaping, according to Dr. David Margolis, the director of the Cleveland Department of Public Health, has the city in a health crisis.
We have a life expectancy that's 20 years shorter than our neighboring communities and a smoking rate that is 3 times higher than our neighboring communities.
So, City Council is moving to force change. New laws on the table would first require any business that sells tobacco products to be licensed at $500. Brian Casey is one of 4 members of council sponsoring the legislation.
What we've decided to do was come up with a licensing fee in order to offset some additional enforcement for hiring people through the health department.
And that enforcement would include undercover Department of Health workers going into shops to make sure IDs were being checked. Rocky Patel owns City Food downtown. He's not too worried about that $500 fee.
Doing business, I'll be okay, but the little retailer who is not doing as much as business, they might have a much problem.
But Margolis sees that as a small price to keep tobacco out of the hands of those under 21.
They'll be able to afford it in Cleveland. It's the price of doing business to make sure that the right things are happening.
So why is this what Dr. Margolis calls the right thing? Case Western Reserve research shows flavored vapes are the biggest issue in the city. Dr. Erica Trappel is a director of research in the Case Medical School.
Where we see some stubborn sticking points is with vape use. And what the kids are telling us in our surveys every year is that nearly a quarter of them are purchasing them themselves at stores.
That's not surprising when you consider you can't escape the vape shops in the city. And consider this, 27 smoke shops applied for new permits just in January. So a second law would require new vape shops to be set up at least 2 miles from any existing shops.
Hopefully that puts the kibosh on all these smoke shops just popping up all over the city.
The third new law would address the overwhelming, obnoxious level, really, according to Dr. Margolis, of advertising. Like this. Dr. Margolis said tobacco companies spent $460 million in Ohio last year.
The tobacco companies, the nicotine companies would not be spending that money if it didn't work.
The new Cleveland legislation would allow for only 25% of window space to be used for ads.
It will be new, and that's change comes with the resistance, but I think most retailers would welcome health inspectors in to just make sure they're doing everything right.
So change may be coming to Cleveland, and it comes from a period of what Dr. Trappel's research shows is positive momentum. This after Ohio in 2019 raised the minimum smoking age to 21.
When we've driven down cigarettes substantially, when we've driven down cigars substantially, and even driven down vapes, we're imagining that over the past decade, we have substantially limited the number of new smokers that we have here as adults in the city of Cleveland.